Nhất xa sự hơi chính em điểm cái chính nhập.
Hằng nghe lại phim ngay sẽ.
Bác bài bên nghe. Nrei te bro chính em ngin hap sunyo kitang itek pop. Bagi kamba bhajuni.
Ki khubor ka Batesi TV ka umdi basnyam bat pinjasliang. Rupa Premium Meghalaya.
Unong ilam kaliang persya hiyundor bathawaan ke jelau Dr. Mukul Sangma. Ulawan rai kamat ikran hakadur jang resolution hiyundor bathawaan ke jela. Baka hiyundor bar kan shimya ka rai ben pentri kamno yak MRSSA Act arajar khandril dakabas dangno banbu iki khardap rong khardap mi lani kita ke entry exit point. Dr. Mukul ulaong bahadim ladap thau ke MRSSA Act lo thawru ka task force bar ladap yoru yak jaka ban pinyang ki khardap rong khardap mi. Hindri ulak lemno negashuki mintirang ba bat umishimlala ban pentrekam yak MRSSA. Ulawan ra ikani kamat ikran namar balada ka sarkar India kampat ay jing minjur ban pentrekam yak ILP ka sarkar kare bandan laga jongkaan ban perking yak jingwan rung kirthep ki berik banabar hakan ga jella bat ulaong ba ka MRSSA kedek babiang baha kat bampat yo yak ILP.
Now we will take up resolution number 1. Dr. Mukul Sangma, MLA and leader of the opposition, to move whereas the illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx in the state remains a major concern. And whereas to address this concern, there has been a collective resolve by the political parties and all stakeholders in the state to prevail upon the Government of India to implement ILP under the provision of Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation 1893 BEFR through a resolution adopted in this August House, and whereas the Government of India has not shown any positive response to implement ILP in the state till date, and whereas the state has legislated its own law to deal with the issue of illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx, MRSSA Act 2016, and whereas the MRSSA 2016 provides comprehensive legal framework to regulate entry, exit and stay of the people from outside the state in order to ensure safety and security of the citizens, including identifying entry-exit points along the interstate border and establishment of facilitation centers. And whereas the state authorities have identified parcels of land for such entry-exit points and establishment of facilitation centers in order to give fruition to the objective of the MRSSA 2016. Now, therefore, this House do resolve to urge the government to complete the whole process of establishment of the facilitation centers at the identified entry-exit points with proper guidelines and to put in place all other regulatory measures as per mandate of MRSSA 2016. Dr. Mukul Sangma, Leader of Opposition, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that whereas the illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx in the state remain a major concern, and whereas to address this concern, there has been a collective resolve by the political parties and all stakeholders in the state to prevail upon Government of India to implement ILP under the provision of the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873 through a resolution adopted in this August House. And whereas Government of India has not shown any positive response to implement ILP in the state till date, and whereas the state has legislated its own law to deal with the issue of illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx, the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act 2016. And whereas the MRSSA 2016 provides comprehensive legal framework to regulate the entry, exit, and stay of the people from outside the state in order to ensure safety and security of the citizens, including identifying entry-exit points along the interstate border and establishment of facilitation centers. And whereas the state authorities have identified parcels of land for such entry-exit points and establishment of facilitation centers in order to give fruition to the objective of the MRSSA 2016. Now, therefore, this House do resolve to urge the government to complete the whole process of establishment of the facilitation centers at the identified entry-exit points with proper guidelines and to put in place all other regulatory measures as per the mandate of MRSSA 2016, read Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act 2016.
Yes, you may initiate, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now, this important exercise of this August House was a culmination of a long-drawn engagement, exhaustive dialogue, to see that in absence of the provision of ILP, which would have been otherwise implemented in the state of Meghalaya, to deal with this huge concern of illegal immigration and the uncontrolled influx. We all are aware of this fact, that this has been, this concern, this sensitive issue of dealing with this illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx into the state has not been a matter of concern now, but has been from the very beginning. All the political parties have taken cognizance of this concern. People of the state are more concerned today than ever before because of the reasons which is just in front of our eyes. The other developments which have taken place in the rest of the otherwise tribal-dominated states, where the examples which alerted our people and which actually made our people to look at shouldering collective responsibility to deal with this issue, this challenge, in the best interest of our people and the generations next. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, immediately after the enactment of this act, there was active engagement again with all the stakeholders to give fruition to the objective of this particular act. If you go by the name of the principal act, itself is reflective of the meticulous engagement and discussion amongst the stakeholders as to how, in absence of a law which is enacted by Parliament or otherwise is a law which is under the purview of Parliament, we can also have our own legislative law with the mandate of this August House to deal with this issue. There has been ceaseless demand from the people of the state to convince the government of India to implement ILP in the state. It's not something which happened just recently. It has been there for a long, long time. Therefore, there has been engagement directly or indirectly. During that time, when I had the privilege of leading the government, I did try on the sidelines to read the mind of the people who were running the government of India, in other words, the mind of government of India, pertaining to agreeing to this request, this demand of the people and the state of Meghalaya. I knew fully well that it will be a tough call to actually get them to agree. I could see that it would be probably a kind of, wasteful engagement, because I knew that I would not be able to convince. Therefore, in order to ensure that we as lawmakers look at the space available within the legislative mandate of this August House. Now, while enacting any law, we have to fully understand that we do not go beyond the legislative jurisdiction of the state legislature. Therefore, it was a tightrope walking. When this proposed bill was scripted with utmost exhaustive engagement for a long time with all the stakeholders, the members who represented the civil society organizations on behalf of the people, and including the political parties. It was, while we wanted to put many more other provisions to see that what we want as a replacement, as an alternative to ILP could be possible, but then legislative jurisdiction doesn't allow the state legislature to go beyond. Therefore, whatever was available within the legislative jurisdiction were incorporated in this proposed bill, and I'm grateful that all the political parties at that point of time agreed to pass this bill to give this bill to become a law. Now, in order to implement any law which is legislated, we must come with the rule to implement the mandate of the law. This also was completed, though it is always important to understand that any law which is enacted, whether by the state legislature or the parliament, there is a space for amendment or improvement at any point of time. So also, to script and format the rules in sync, in conformity with the mandate of the law in such a manner that it doesn't conflict with the mandate of the law so enacted. Therefore, it is a responsibility of the government to look at all the spaces available in as far as the mandate of a law is concerned, and how to ensure that wherever necessary, if there is a felt necessary, nobody can stop the government from amending to give further power, or rather to reinforce its mandate to be enforced in a manner that it becomes more effective, to give fruition to the intended objective. Somehow or other, I felt that after the present dispensation took charge, I expected that, having understood the complexity of this problem pertaining to illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx, this particular provision of the mandate of the law can be taken cognizance of, and its application in a manner that will, to a great extent, help us to deal with this concern would be sincerely attempted. But the immediate response that I could see from the present dispensation, the current dispensation, was that after 2018, the first thing that the government tried to do was to amend this act. And in this August House, when the proposed amendment was tabled, I have also cautioned that we must always look at the legislative jurisdiction of the state legislature. The moment it crosses this jurisdiction, then the governor will not be able to give assent to the proposed piece of legislation. That is how the constitutional provision operates. We have the union list, the state list, the concurrent list. So the provision of the Constitution is very clear. We have to know where we should say, yes, this is the maximum limit that we can go, and beyond this is beyond our jurisdiction, beyond our legislative jurisdiction. But in spite of my repeated appeal, for whatever reason, amendment was pushed through. And what was the end result? The governor could not give assent. The moment any law legislated by state legislature, whether while bringing a new proposed bill for consideration or any amendment of any existing law, once it goes beyond the legislative jurisdiction, the Honorable Governor is duty-bound to go by the provision of the Constitution. That's the reason why the proposed amendment was sent to MHA for the necessary constitutional response, which requires examination of such exercise of the state legislature for legislation, whether it in respect of new law or any legislation for amending an existing law, in order to see that if it is within the legislative jurisdiction of the state legislature. The moment it goes beyond, what is the fate of the law? It comes back. Otherwise, it has to be. Therefore, my point here is, rather than giving effect to the provision of this particular act, which is an outcome of long-drawn engagement of all the stakeholders in the government, including all the political parties. Today, we are asking Government of India, and in absence or pending the agreement to agree to implement ILP in the state of Meghalaya, we are not protected effectively by the mandate of this law, which otherwise is available under the mandate of the law. I would be very brief in this because there are many other important issues which is tabled by honorable members of this August House. But as far as this particular Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act 2016 is concerned, now yesterday, because similar issue was part of the discussion in this August House, in the first question of the day yesterday, which was pertaining to the government's new initiative to engage with Government of India to give effect to the implementation of particular law enacted by Parliament to address this concern of illegal immigration and influx. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the issue of illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx, we must always look at the nomenclature. While we use this nomenclature, we also have to be very careful in how we interpret. Because the concern is keeping in mind the population structure of our Khasi, Garo, Jaintia, and our tribal people in the state of Meghalaya. How any uncontrolled entry of people from outside and they're residing in the state, if they come as a tourist and go back, that is a different thing. But when this, without the presence of any effective enforcement through the mandate of the law, we cannot regulate the stay of people. Then we don't even know who is staying in our own neighborhood. We have been confronted with such kind of surprises in the past. Sometimes in the same neighborhood, we have people who are from outside who were actually wanted people, including terrorists, members of banned organizations, in some localities. We came to know only when the police ultimately raided their houses and arrested those people. This happened in Shillong, this happened in Tura. Therefore, it is this law which gives us a comprehensive, mandate of law to deal with these concerns. We are able to know who is staying, who is resident of our neighborhood. And this law also has given enough power to our traditional institutions. Traditional institutions. If you look at the mandate of this law, that it is not only the authorities under government, which we refer as the police, but also simultaneously the traditional institutions who are mandated, or rather who are empowered by the mandate of this law. In fact, we should remember that there was one particular judgment by the Honorable High Court of Meghalaya by one of the then judge, now retired, questioning the legal validity of the hetman. Yes. And the operational part of the judgment is self-explanatory. Therefore, it was necessary for the government to come up with a mandate through an enactment of law. And this is comprehensive. This also covers all this. The huge empowerment of our traditional institutions with this particular mandate of law. And how this law has to be read and understood from the perspective of its effectivity to give fruition to our objective of dealing with illegal immigration and uncontrolled influx can be easily understood if one tries to read and understand and comprehend and see how it can be enforced. The nomenclatures used here are very cleverly used in order to ensure that the nomenclature which is incorporated in the proposed bill, which ultimately became an act, do not become a reason for the law wherein the law so enacted may not be able to withstand a judicial scrutiny. Any law passed must be able to withstand the judicial scrutiny. And this law has withstood the judicial scrutiny. That is the reality, that is the fact. Yesterday, while we were discussing, in order to make long story short, I would like to come to the point. There was an indication that the Honorable High Court has come up with its observation. The operational part, we have asked the government to put it on the table of the House so that the members of the August House and the people will know. What is the operational part of that judgment? Has this law been not able to withstand the scrutiny of judiciary? Now, yesterday even the issue of entry-exit point was questioned. But I would like to read the section 17 of the MRSSA 2016, which reads, section 17, subsection 1, the state government may establish facilitation centers at such places and at such locations, particularly at the entry into and exit from the state, as may be notified in the official gazette. Where is this word missing? Then subsection 2 says, the facilitation centers so established in it shall be under the general direction control of the respective district task force. And all these district task forces have been constituted prior to 2018, after the enactment of this law. And in order to give effect to this intent of this particular section and subsection of section 17 of this act, various other actions have been taken by the respective task force in every district. The task force, along with the involvement of members representing various civil society organizations, have identified all those possible so-called interstate entry and exit points. And based on that, lots of engagement have also taken place with the landowners, with the traditional institutions, even with the private parties who own those lands, all across North Garo Hills, all across West Garo Hills. The land, parcels of land have been already identified. The unfortunate thing is that 2018, I had to vacate the office of CM, and therefore it could not be implemented. But all those efforts of identifying the entry-exit points, wherein there was a very uphill task to even convince the people to agree to part with the parcel of land which belonged to them, which they have inherited. It was a difficult job. But keeping in mind the interests of the people and the state as a whole, they agreed to give those parcels of land. to establish those entry-exit points. Rather, to establish those facilitation centers at the entry-exit points. Whether it is in Southwest Garo Hills, whether it is in West Garo Hills, whether it is in North Garo Hills, whether it is in Jaintia Hills, whether it is in Rivoy, whether it is in other interstate borders. Lots of time and resources have been spent. This task force is headed by the respective deputy commissioners of the district. How much time has been wasted if we don't give due recognition to this endeavor and effort and the purpose, the important purpose and objective which is attached to this endeavor? Therefore, why is this law? Just look at the mandate of the law. Why is this law? It is for the benefit of the state and the people. Don't we need this facilitation center? Yes, we need. Therefore, when the issue of establishment of facilitation center was challenged by one of the petitioners, one of the citizens, the whole adjudication process, government has to defend every provision of law that has been mandated by this August House. If the government does not see how we can defend and protect such important piece of law, then we are found to be wanting in our commitment and the resolve, which is so important in as far as this crucial, sensitive issue is concerned. We knew that if Government of India does not agree to implement ILP, then we must have something of our own, like having one's own baby, rather than depending on somebody else's child to depend on the rest of the life. So our own, the act which has been mandated by this August House, by all of us. So to demonize certain provisions and interpret through action that this piece of legislation is not good enough. Yes, it is not enough. But in absence of ILP, it is good enough. We have discussed about the challenges confronted by the uncontrolled illegal immigration across the globe. Different nations with stringent procedure adopted to restrict entry of foreigners. We tried for visa application to visit United States of America. It's so difficult. In fact, my eldest daughter never got a visa to travel to US. Yes. Many of our friends never get a visa to go to USA. It's so difficult. Many of these nations have such a stringent law to ensure that entry to their nations are strictly, rather they put in so much of stringent provisions to restrict the easy entry, even as a tourist, even as a student. But despite that, today all these nations are struggling because of the immigration that has taken place over the years, over the decades. Whether it is UK, whether it is European nations, or whether it is America, it is because of illegal immigration. The world is in turmoil. The hatred emanates from that. And today, therefore, prevention is better than cure. Why is today what we see in our own state is happening? It is precisely because of this, because we are failing to protect. We are perceived to have failed collectively, not just our distinguished members who are in the treasury benches, but all of us. We are perceived to have failed. That's why the anger and the resultant, all those, whatever is happening across. Now, in order to complement these things, we have worked on a number of programs also. While we implement certain programs, we wanted to ensure that our issue of this uncontrolled influx can be dealt with. I would like to refer to one particular provision which we have incorporated even while framing the program for submission to Government of India to be considered under externally aided program, EAP, which is being implemented even now, which was sanctioned in 2017, and today that is the main flagship EAP program, which is transforming the state in respect of building innumerable infrastructures, particularly road, and the connected development associated with road. It's not confined to road. Here, while formatting and preparing this whole comprehensive proposal, we understood this issue of uncontrolled influx. Therefore, there's a component for labor management plan, because it says that all our studies show that labor influx for construction works can lead to a variety of adverse social and environmental risks and impact, such as conflicts between the local community and the construction workers, increased risk of illicit behavior and crime, impact on community dynamics, increased burden on and competition for public service provision, increased risk of communicable diseases and burden on local health services, gender-based violence, local inflation of prices, and increased pressure on accommodation and rent. This is part and parcel of the program under MITP. So, having referred to the mandate of the MRSSA Act 2016, I am also indicating that, yes, we require comprehensive measures which amplify each other, complement each other, and create an enabling environment. All these provisions will be funneled together to achieve the objective. So, with this MRSSA, look at some more other measures, like while implementing the programs. Today, though this provision is there under MITP, it is not being adhered to. Go anywhere, the laborers are from outside. In fact, the implementation and building of roads under this MITP is rather displacing our own laborers. Therefore, these particular programs, again, therefore, there is a provision to scale up their skill, to provide all kinds of support system. Fund is integrated in this. Therefore, look at the other ways and means of doing things. But therefore, I think it is necessary that government of the day, under the leadership of a young, passionate leader of the House, let us relook at this mandate of the people. Let us look at how these facilitation centers can be put to place and operationalize all this. And let us revisit those areas which are so crucially required to create these infrastructures which will give fruition to the objective of this law. Though the other provisions of this law is already being enforced, I'm happy, but then unless we do this, it will not complement each other. And with this, there are also other measures which is intended to give the kind of teeth to the enforcing agencies to look at all kinds of movement of people and also to look at from the security aspect of the people who travel. I would therefore urge upon the government that government take this very submission with complete positivity, keeping in mind the impact of this mandate of the law that it can bring to deal with this concern to a great extent possible. it is not going to enable us to have 100% intended result, but it definitely has enough to somehow enable us to integrate this mandate of the law with other existing provisions of law and other measures at the time of implementation of different programs. There are multiple laws which can be integrated. And just because this particular issue is tabled by me as a resolution, as usual, the opposition has to vote against the proposed resolution. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I think last time when we proposed this particular bill to be considered by this August House, there was unanimity. There was unanimity. It need not come as a resolution, but then government should indicate that yes, it will examine it with complete, with utmost sense of sincerity and responsibility to give effect to all these provisions, which has become integral part of this mandate of the law. And accordingly, wherever needed, may the government look at further amending the rules within the mandate of the law. There is no need to go for any amendment of the Principal Act at the moment. But rules can be amended in a manner which can give complete framework where there will be no areas of different interpretation of the intent of every section of the law. With these few words, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I propose this resolution to be adopted by this August House with the honest intent of giving effect to this law, which has been passed unanimously by this August House after having an exhaustive engagement, discussion, and agreement to give this kind of mandate to the enforcing authorities through this Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act 2016. With these few submissions, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I once again appeal the House to consider this. With these few words, I resume myself.
Thank you.
Oh, for once I'm ready before her. Chale!
Gorgeous.
Let's go!
Coming. How much you honk, yeah?
Come on, we should leave.
Chill. It's just family.
Exactly. और घर वाले ही late.
By the way, how am I looking?
Very late.
Streamers, caps, candles, a cake, definitely balloons. सब आ गया. Wait a minute. Where is everyone? Show off.
Hey bro, how's it going?
एक बात बता, सबसे फास्ट होकर भी हमेशा लेट कैसे?
Style bro, style.
Hello guys, where's the birthday boy?
यहीं कहीं होगा, अपने फीचर्स को रील्स पे शो ऑफ करता हुआ.
इतना बिगाड़ा जो है. Automatic gearbox, ventilated seats, sunroof.
क्यों ना हो? फैमिली का सबसे यंगेस्ट भी तो है. Let's go guys, party time.
Skoda.